Last week was the VR September Challenge, so today I sat down with Lcas, the winner of that tournament, who ended up bringing a very interesting Blaziken team to win the whole thing. Today we sit down and we discuss his tournament run. It's more or less just like a podcasty type video, so if you want to throw this on in the background while we discuss the different matchups that the Blaziken team has into what's common in the metagame right now, you can go ahead and just do that. This is going to be kind of a chill video. I'm probably going to do this every week with whoever wins a major tournament, so just keep that in mind. Anyways, let's just get into it. All right, I am here with Lcas, who just won the VR Tour. What is this? VR September Challenge #1, which was a pretty big online tournament that took place over the same weekend as Pittsburgh Regionals. Lcas won with something pretty interesting. It was a Blaziken team. What we're going to do today is just have a conversation about their tournament run and the different matchups that they went through and just that sort of thing. So if you want to say hi, Lcas, give a little introduction, how long you've been playing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, hi. My name is Lcas Mester, and well, I've been playing since the middle of the season in 2023, with my first regional being Stuttgart. Yeah.
I mean, if that's the whole history of your tournaments, then this is actually even more impressive. Because
oh wait, I mean, like, there hasn't been too many accomplishments. I mean, I made 2 day 2s, but like that's not really much. And I made day 2 at the last Victory Road tournament, but
yeah, I mean, but
I
still
haven't won anything besides this.
Winning this one's still crazy though. I mean, Victory Road tournaments are difficult tournaments to win. Like, they're effectively regionals, but just a little more stacked sometimes because the people who are entering a Victory Road tournament are more leaning towards people who are taking the game slightly seriously. So I think that it's pretty impressive, frankly. But let's go ahead and check this out. And I did not fix this. Hold on. Properties, showdown. There you go. All right. So, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yep.
All right, sick. So, let's just go ahead and talk about the 6. So, you had mentioned that you were not the person who originally created this team, but you were piloting it for a little bit because your friend recommended it to you. Do you want to tell me how you ended up coming across the team?
Yeah, so I was needing a team for the GC, and my friend Marcus was just like, there was this cool Blaziken team I found on Liberty Node, and then I tried it out on the best of 1 ladder, got pretty high with it, but I didn't really stick with it. Like, it wasn't really my kind of team, so I ended up playing just the standard P2 Ursaluna, just that kind of stuff for the GC. And then I dropped the team until this Victory Road, where I needed a team. I just got my worst result at regional ever in Frankfurt. So I was thinking, well, Blaziken, that's good in Sukul, then go Ninetales. And I lost to that in Frankfurt. So Blaziken must be good. And then I remembered this team. And then I just said, well, I don't have that much time to practice. So I'm just going to commit to it, make it in-game, maybe play some best of 1, but not that much best of 3 because I didn't have too much time. And yeah, then I just committed to it.
Yeah, I mean, what is a best of 3 if not just a couple of best of 1s, But yeah, no, I mean, the team is pretty interesting looking. I mean, Blaziken's always been in a really interesting spot in the metagame where it's not really like a standout Pokemon at all. But in Reg H, since there are such limited options for fighting types, it just existing as like a fighting type that can at some point outspeed Sneasler, give it like a turn or 2. But it being like a nice coaching mod next to Gambit and Baxcalibur and Rillaboom is just like super niche and strong. So I guess like what we can talk about are some of the matchups that you faced and basically how often you brought Blaziken to games, that sort of thing. So you were kind enough to provide me with a full repository of all of the matchups that you ended up with, so let me go ahead and grab those, and we'll start with round 1 here. So if you want to talk me through this one. So this was Scarf Ape, Sash Glamora. It just looks like standard like Dozo stall.
Yeah, so I was pretty scared because I wasn't comfortable in the Dozo matchup since my main way of dealing with Dozo was clear smoking my Munkus in Frankfurt. But like now I have Haze on Specs Primarina, but if I log in Haze on Specs, it's not going to be that great.
Yeah.
Was my thought process. And like I can't deal damage to Terrafire Rillaboom or Magmar with my Blaziken. And so I can't really go for the Blaziken Bax lead because, well, Bax might be able to do something, sure, but like it loses to Dozo, right?
Yeah, just gets
And
walled.
so I actually lost game 1 to it because I didn't lead Blaziken Excalibur. But then I realized, well, it's my only way to win, so I just had to lead it. And, well, I just ended up KOing Magmar early enough, and then Rillaboom couldn't really hit Excalibur that well. And then I had my own Rillaboom in the back, to then have that as my Dozo answer instead of Primarina. So like they had to Terra to be able to take the Woodhammer, but then they might be crit by my Icicle Spear.
Yeah, so you basically just managed to get them into what is it? I forget what Pengi called it, but it's this chess term where no matter what decision you make, it's like disadvantageous.
Yeah, but yeah, that's essentially how I won game 2 and 3.
All right. I mean, like I was gonna say, like Dozo seems like your toughest, not your toughest, but one of your toughest matchups, all things considered, because like I said, you basically you're basically stuck like trying to either pin them with Rillaboom or getting them into the Haze Primarina situation. This channel is partnered with Gamersubs. If you want to support my work and get great tasting drinks, you can order Gamersubs through my link in the description down below or with code Moxie boosted at checkout for 10% off. Gamersubs is a caffeinated product that I recommend only to my 18+ viewers, but my link will send you to their caffeine-free product section just in case. Every product purchased through my link supports my channel financially, so I'd really appreciate the support. Now back to the video.
Yeah.
All right.
But I actually faced my absolute hardest matchup later on in the tournament.
Oh, I can't wait for that one, actually. I forget. Let me actually take a look at this. I forgot what your final record was. I don't know if... Oh, 8-2. Was that... So, did those 2 losses come... That's in Swiss, right? I forget how they write theirs on
Swiss.
VR. Okay.
They don't count Top Cut at all.
Yeah, because Top Cut's just single limit at that point. All right. Let's take a look at this one. So... oh, gee, you faced Dondozo 2 rounds in a row, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see. There it is.
But yeah, I mean, this is kind of different because I have some variation in what I can do instead of just Blaziken Bax.
Yeah.
But Blaziken Bax is really strong into the Sneasler Rillaboom, or well, pretty much my only answer into Sneasler Rillaboom. Because if I lead Primarina, I can't deal enough damage in time, and I just die. So I have to make a read in team preview, essentially. I have to read their lead to be able to win the game. And I did exactly that in game 1, where I said they're not going to lead Sneasler Rillaboom, and they led then Volcarona Lemora into my Electabuzz Primarina, and I could just Hyper Voice, pick up their Volcarona and their Terra on Glimora, and then I could just use my Woodhammer on Dondozo later.
Yeah. And this team, it almost seems like a weird hybrid of a Dondozo team, because we did see coaching Dozo in like the first iteration of Reg H, but that Dozo team was like solo Dozo. This one has like a Focus Sash Tatsugiri on it, so they can go with either variant. Did they ever end up just not bringing Tatsu and going with the solo Dozo in one of the matchups?
No, they always brought Dondozo and Tatsugiri.
Makes sense. I mean, like, your team is extremely physical, so yeah, okay, this makes sense. Let's take a look at round 3. Hopefully something that isn't Dondozo. That's a rough first 2 matchups. Okay, cool. It's P2 Ursa. So I'm actually really curious about this matchup, since this is what you were piloting before the tournament. How comfortable you actually feel playing into it with the 6 that you brought?
I mean, I feel pretty comfortable in that matchup because I have a lot of lines, and Primarina is especially good here because Amoonguss can't really be brought, and if they bring it, I just have Electabuzz to follow me away the Spore, and then I can always just hit Dragonite, I can hit Gholdengo from neutral unless they Terra, I can also still hit them from neutral, and I hit both Ursaluna and Incineroar super effective. But something that made me lose a game in that round was I won game 1 really comfortably, but game 2 I used Taunt with my Electabuzz.
Yeah.
But I had a team sheet error because I submitted the original paste for the team, which had Thunderbolt instead of Taunt on Electabuzz. And so, like, I was still playing the game out, but, like, my opponent had called a judge.
Mhm.
So, like, when I thought I'd won, I looked at the battle file, and there was a judge. And I was like, oh no, what's happening? But, yeah, I just got a game loss for game 2 and had to change my team sheet. So I had to submit or send my updated paste to my opponent at the start of every round now. Yeah. I'm really happy that I didn't have to switch to Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I was gonna say Taunt.
Really
Taunt seems pretty essential for like a lot of matchups. It's like low key. Yeah. It's low key like a top 3 move on Electabuzz. Like I'm okay with I'm okay with Electroweb. I like Follow Me, but I feel like if my Electabuzz isn't running Taunt, all of a sudden it's like not as versatile of a lead, especially into stuff like P2 and Amoonguss, you know. But that makes that's jeez, that's kind of rough actually. I'm trying to imagine like the team without being able to taunt anything. What were the 4 that you ended up bringing to this one again? You said you led like Electabuzz, but I don't think I caught the other 3.
So I think in game 1 I led Baxcalibur and Blaziken, where they then used Terra Fairy on their Dragonite while I pressed Coaching and Icicle Spear, and then got a 5-hit on it to kill it. And then I had just my +1 defense, so they did Ursaluna Dragonite, so Ursaluna just couldn't deal damage anymore, and I still had my Sash on Blaziken. So from there, they just couldn't deal enough damage, and I just one-shotted everything with Bax. And so I won game 1 with that. Game 2, I led with Primarina Electabuzz, where I then taunted their Dragonite because they led the exact same thing. So I wanted to taunt the Dragonite to make sure they can't Tailwind and Protect, to then outspeed me and one-shot Primarina. But yeah, that's where the judge then got called.
Yeah.
And then in game 3, I did the exact same thing. And, well, they just played out. But I had Taunt now, so I just won.
Okay. A question I have regarding the team, since we're on the topic of a matchup with like Golden Go and Dragonite, is that one of like the advantages that Baxcalibur has into Dragonite is obviously just that Bax. Wait, actually, hold on. Yeah, it's just that Bax is naturally faster, right? So you don't, like most Dragonites are adamant 252 with like multi-scale because they want to make sure that they're outpacing everything after like one scale shot. Bax, obviously, it doesn't have multi-scale, but it does still have access to scale shot, and it does have that higher speed tier. My question is that in a matchup like this, were you feeling better or worse about the Baxcalibur pick? Because obviously you can always outspeed the Dragonite, but one of the advantages that Dragonite has in the matchups is that Golden Go isn't as big of an issue. Like, how difficult was it to play around like Golden Go and Incineroar?
I mean, I think that Bax is just better because my Blaziken covers for the Goldengo lead. So, like, if they lead Goldengo, I can always just pressure with Heat Wave and Scale Shot. And, yeah, if they lead Amoonguss, I can also just pressure a ton of damage. And Electabuzz resists the Make It Rain anyway. So, like, if they've pressed it once or anything, they can't deal damage anymore at all. So they need a turn for a Nasty Plot, and then, like, in the span of those turns, I just end up dealing enough damage to win the game.
Yeah. Would you say that Blaziken is a Pokemon that makes Baxcalibur just a little bit more playable? Because I know a lot of people have played variants of this sort of team with Baxcalibur, King Gambit, Rillaboom, only that they would opt for Sneasler as their coaching mon. Do you think like just having that Pokemon with like fire coverage on lead makes Baxcalibur safer, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it makes it a whole lot safer. Like, without Blaziken, I wouldn't be able to have so many safe, or at least safer, lines into a lot of these common teams. Like, that's why I first looked back onto Blaziken, was because of the Goldengo matchup, because Dragonite can't really deal damage to it. Like, sure, it can take it, Make It Rain with multi-scale, and like then they're -1, and they can't really do much then. But yeah. All right. So, like, yeah.
All right, let's check out round 4 then. Okay, so we have Life Orb below the Ninetales, which is kind of interesting. You know, usually offensive Ninetales has fallen off a little bit. Sash coaching Sneasler. We have Scarf Basculegion, Assault Vest Rillaboom, Goggles King Gambit, and Loaded Dice Terra Steel Ironhead Garchomp. This feels like I've seen something like this before, but this feels like a kind of a unique take on like balanced offense. What was I guess what was the matchup into this?
I mean, I saw that as my auto loss matchup. I couldn't do anything against Terra Steel Garchomp and Sneasler lead, because Sneasler outspeeds Blaziken in turn 1, so like they can just press coaching and Terra Steel, and they can just pressure the Scale Shot into my Blaziken. And if I protect Blaziken, then they can read me and maybe Scale Shot into Bax, and then they still get the speed boost and still outspeed Blaziken. And if I protect both, they are just gonna coaching and coaching again. So then I just give them too many boosts, and then I just can't kill it anyway. Like, sure, Blaziken hits it on the special side, so the defense boosts don't matter, but it's still decently bulky, and Blaziken like isn't holding a damage boosting item, and I don't really want to Terra it because I need to keep Bax safe. So it just felt impossible to play against.
Yeah, and I guess Terra Heat Wave, since it's a spread move and it's coming off of Blaziken, it's like, oh, what's Blaziken's special attack stat? Like 110? Like, even that isn't like hitting terribly hard. Yeah, you would probably need like an offensive item. Yeah, so I'm assuming this is just like, this round was probably just a wash then.
Yeah, they just let Garchomp Sneasler in game 1 and 2, and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, these matchups
actually misplayed game 1. They misplayed game 1, so I could have pressed Ice Shard on turn 1 and maybe hope for a crit or something on Garchomp, because they didn't Terra Steel turn 1 in game 1. But I didn't, so...
Yeah, and it's like risky regardless, because it's you're facing down Garchomp, you know?
Yeah.
Alright, let's take a look at round 5. Oh, hold on, maybe I copied that one wrong. Copy link. Paste. There we go. Alright. So round 5, this is just rain. Goldie, Choice Banded Basculegion, Swift Swim rather than Adaptability, Citrus Berry, Terra Psychic Amoonguss, Safety Goggles Incineroar, AV, Terra Fighting Archaldon, and Focus Sash Pelipper. How problematic would you say Archaldon is? I feel like it isn't that bad just because you have like a special fighting move, but Blaziken, you know, obviously is Terra Fire, so I feel like it gets pressured a little bit by like all the waters on this team. Would you say that Rain is like a neutral, positive, or negative matchup for you?
In the few games I did play in best of 1 in preparation for the tournament, I experienced Rain to be actually pretty easy, but this one turned out to be my second loss of the tournament. Like, I just played horribly, and my opponent played extremely well. Like, sometimes you just lose to being worse at the game.
It happens.
So, yeah, they just completely outplayed me. It ended up in game 1. Wait, now I need to think. Yeah, in game 1, they ended up using my specs against me, so they just brought Incineroar and ended up fake outing into Prim, so I couldn't do anything because it's specs and not Terra Ghosts. So they ended up taking out my main damage dealer, because my main way of dealing with Archaldon is my Terra Fairy Moonblast on Primarina. Yeah, and like, I can't do much without my Primarina if it gets redirected with the Moonblast, or if I just can't deal enough damage with D-Gleam and they haven't Terra to fighting. I just cannot deal enough damage to the Archaldon. And
two losses in a row, like that's kind of like a momentum stopper. Like, how were you feeling at this point in the tournament? Because what, you're 3-2 after this round?
Yeah, I was really tilted because I had just faced my auto loss matchup and then faced something I was really comfortable in. And like, this really crushed me, and I thought my run would be over just next round. But yeah.
But you kept going. That's the mindset shift. A lot of VGC players get tilted so quick. I have a lot of friends that like, they'll pull like one bad round and they'll be like, it's so over, dude. It's over. I can't win anymore. My mindset's completely gone. Like, I'm tilted. I can't play. And it's just like, bro, go like Get a hot dog or something. Like we're between rounds. Calm down. Oh, what is this? That's a Weavile. Hold on. They said Shen Pao's banned. Give me something else. All right. What was this?
I mean, this was pretty easy because they don't have fake out on the Sneasler. Oh, Weavile.
I know. I also
So-
I would say Sneasler too, because I'm like, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, so they didn't really have a solid way of stopping my Primarina, so I could just lead Electabuzz Primarina and just redirect Hyper Voice or redirect D-Gleam, depending on what they led. I just mainly pressed Hyper Voice to then pressure the Ursaluna to Terra, and I would also deal just a ton of damage to Weavile because it's not that bulky and I have specs. So that was just my main way of dealing with the lead. I misplayed really badly in game 2. I can't remember what happened for sure, but I remember I just lost and I felt, well, how do I play this game 3 now? Because I thought I would always win this matchup. But what happened? But then I just stuck with the exact same game plan with just Electabuzz Primarina, deal some damage, pressure Dragonite to Terra eventually, and then have Blaziken in the back to then deal damage with Heat Wave and just pressure damage all around because it hits Ursaluna, hits Dragonite, hits so many things on that team.
Yeah. No, this doesn't seem like the worst matchup. It seems a little finicky because like there's just like some odd picks here. Solo Annihilate isn't something you see too often in this metagame, unless it's like Scarf, right? But this one isn't. Focus Sash Weavile is a really weird speed tier. What is that? It's like 125 speed, so that's already kind of strange. And then you're also dealing with Scarf Pelipper, which, how fast does Scarf Pelipper get? Like, that pressures Blaziken slightly, but not really, because you just wait a turn. I guess it almost pressures.
Exactly, I just pressed protect.
Yeah, that's a strange matchup. That's a strange matchup, but that might have been the momentum you needed, where you go, okay, I can win this one. Like, you just look at N-Team Preview and you go, okay, last round and the round before that was kind of rough. This round, I can do this. Okay, Grassy Seed Golden Go, nasty plot. We have AV Rillaboom with Drum Beating for speed control, Tailwind Haze D-Knight, Clear Amulet Hisui Arcanine, Focus Sash Encore Ninetales, and White Herb Sneasler. I'm trying to think. I always try to like I try to infer some info about the matchup before you get into talking about it, but at some point I just have to look at you and go like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, this is where Speed Boost really came into play, because they ended up having just Sealing with the Dragonite and the White Herb activated on Sneasler, and it ended up becoming, I need my Blaziken to outspeed at some point, just outspeed this Dragonite, because I still had my Sash intact on Blaziken, and that Terra Steel on Dragonite, which I'd ended up pressuring with my Excalibur. And so it ended up becoming, well, after I'm +2 speed and they have Seawind up, I still outspeed the Dragonite. And then I can just play around speed boost and then eventually just win the game.
How does, hold on, I'm trying to take a look at some of the interactions here, try to get a little bit more info. But I don't know, it's almost a standard team. It's almost, there's just like weird things going on with it.
I mean,
how does Terrifier Rillaboom affect the matchup when it comes to like drum beating stuff? Were they ever trying to, was there ever a position where drum beating came into play here? I guess not. I mean, like if Defiant King Gambit, Speed Boost Blaziken doesn't really care.
No, we didn't use Rillaboom and not drum beating. Like it wouldn't do anything because Blaziken still just gets a speed boost at the end of the turn anyway.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't really help him all that much. I mean, maybe break my Sash, but that's it.
Would you argue this is like a pretty positive matchup then? Because I'm not really seeing their lines.
I would argue it would be a difficult matchup if they were a different Terra than Steel on Dragonite, because game 1 really much came down to I had pressured them to Steel Terra, so then Blaziken could win. Game 2 was actually much more difficult because I ended up in a really bad spot where they had Arcanine, Dragonite, and I had. I can't really remember, but I remember in the moment they needed to. I needed to miss my Electro Web because I needed Electro Web to hit Arcanine, so that I could outspeed something. Outspeed with something. But I missed Electro Web, and then it was like if they had correctly guessed they needed to attack into my Electabuzz, and then maybe crit my Electabuzz or just high rolled, I would lose the game. But yeah, no, it ended up playing out differently, so it didn't matter that much that I missed my Electro Web.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Once again, we're just seeing like the Blaziken Excalibur synergy. I guess like a problematic Terra might have been just Terra Fairy at that point on Dragonite, but since they're Terra Steel, it's just Blaziken's got it covered. That's kind of sick,
it becomes
actually.
So much easier.
Like, we just continuously see how much Blaziken actually covers for Bax's specific weak matchups, but oh, Mouse Ape. This one's interesting. Mouse Ape's always like a matchup, I think, that in Reg Age, people either just hope that they dodge or they over prep into. How did your team feel into Mouse Ape?
Mouse Ape is really difficult for my team. Because I can't really deal damage to Annihilate. Because Blaziken, again, doesn't hit that hard, and then I just give them the free Rage Fist stacks for no reason. And like, at some point, they can just KO my Electabuzz, and because they have Sash Mouse Hold, I just can't really go for like killing Mouse and then targeting Ape afterwards. I need to get my spread damage out there, which I again really don't like because I give them Rage Fist stacks. And from Arena, I'll outspeed the Annihilate, and so I need Electabuzz to Electro Web.
But then I give them Defiant.
Yeah.
And also they're Terra Fire, so it's like 50-50 on which move you gotta click.
Yeah. But I ended up, in game 1 at least, protecting my Excalibur. They let Mouse Ape. So I protected Excalibur, and I pressed Coaching, and then I just pressed Coaching again. So then hopefully be able to survive a beat-up, boosted Rage Fist on my Excalibur. And then with Scale Shot, I then outspeed the Annihilate, and then I outspeed Goldengo, and then I can maybe pressure the Annihilate to Terra to resist my Icicle Spear, and then I can get my Electabuzz Primarina in to then say, okay, now you're Terra Fire, and then I can use my Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice to then finally kill the Annihilate.
Yeah. It's just a matter of getting them in position for it.
So,
all right. Yeah, no, Mouse Ape genuinely does seem pretty difficult because I was looking at this and I was like, it really is just Prim, isn't it? Like I guess Blaziken's somewhat helpful, but not incredibly because you're just clicking like a rather weak Heat Wave into a Friend Guarded Mon. But okay.
Yeah, King Gambit might be able to do something at times. If they haven't bulked up yet, I might be able to Terra Dark Sucker Punch to deal damage, but it didn't happen all that much.
Yeah. And then you're also dealing with the possibility of Follow Me, which might just stuff it.
Yeah.
So I can see why this is probably like your most stressful matchup. All right, let's take a look at this one. Oh geez, is this the right one? Let me see. Copy link. Paste. 2 in a row. 2 in a row.
Yep.
It's kind of funny because you're pulling like the annoying matchups, but you always pull them one right after another because you did 2 Dondozos at the start and then 2 auto losses and then all right, so tell me about this one. This is a pretty similar deal. I mean, they're also just Terrifier bulk up and they have Follow Me beat up. This seems like a pretty similar deal, only that this team has like slightly different mons around it.
Yeah, I mean, this matchup was like a lot more difficult because they have the dual Wing Beat Talonflame to then pressure my Blaziken immediately. So like I can't just lead my usual Blaziken backs to then set up Coaching because they did also have Taunt. So if they didn't want to risk the dual Wing Beat miss, they could just Taunt me instead, or set up Tailwind predicting my Protect, and then it becomes the kind of mind gamey. But I ended up sticking with Blaziken backs and pressing Coaching while they set up Tailwind in game 1. So that was really impactful. Yeah, I still ended up losing game 1, I remember. Because I was really annoyed and said like, I can't win this matchup. It's just so difficult. And in game 2, I led Primarina Electabuzz to then try to pressure, just kill Talonflame, and then set up Electro Web so I could outspeed Annihilate immediately, and maybe +2 single boosted Rage Fist doesn't one-shot Prim, hopefully. I hadn't done the calc, so I just hoped. And yeah, so I really played around. I need to follow me and then Hyper Voice to break Mousehold Sash later, and that ended up working out. And so that's just how I won game 2. It's just Prim needed to deal damage and it dealt damage.
Gotcha.
And game 3, game 3 came down to luck. I ended up being in a position where I have Blaziken and Kingambit, where I knew they were gonna Drain Punch into my Kingambit because I just protected. So I saw my only out, and that was protecting again. And I ended up hitting the double protect, and from that I could then just kill Mousehold, stop the redirection, press Sucker Punch with Kingambit, and win the game from there.
All right. Yeah, no. Mousehold just seems, or Mouseape just seems like annoying, frustrating matchup that just gives you nothing but stress with this team, unfortunately. But yeah. I swear to God, bro, if I open this next pace and it's another Mouseape, hold on. Okay, no, all right, we're back to non 50-50 territories. Okay, so we're looking at Terra Electric Yawn, AV Blood Moon. That did pretty good at. Wait, did it do pretty good or did it win Frankfurt? I forgot.
It won Frankfurt.
It won Frankfurt, yeah. Is this the exact same team that won Frankfurt?
No,
it's not. I'll be honest, I didn't pay attention because that was the weekend that Stefan was playing Monterey, and I recorded last week's episode with Stefan, so I haven't really looked at Frankfurt, and that's my bad. I feel like such a fraud. But okay, we do see Leftovers, Terra Electric Yawn, not AV Blood Moon, but Leftovers Blood Moon, AV Rillaboom, Grassy Seed, Corvid Dance, Terra Fairy Volcarona, Scarf Adaptability, Basket Legion, Safety Goggles, Terra Water, Incineroar, and Focus Sash, Auroraville, Ninetales. Trying to think what the line into this really is. I mean, Scarf Basket Legion seems annoying. Incineroar, it seems like you kind of want them to lead Incineroar, to be honest. I think Gambit is actually pretty solid on lead here. What was your lead in this one?
My lead in game 1 was just Blaziken Excalibur, and then I had Kingambit in the back, and Kingambit ended up just cleaning the late game because they had Ninetales and Basket Legion, but I had forced a Terra on Ursaluna, if I remember correctly, so I could just not take any damage from Ninetales and just kill Basket Legion, and their only out would be to freeze my Kingambit, but that didn't end up happening, so I won game 1 from that. And this is actually my friend Gustav. Shout out Gustav. Sorry I knocked you out for contention for Top Gun. I really think this is a horrible matchup for me because they could just lead something like Volcarona, Rillaboom, and because they have Terra Fairy, I can't use Kingambit, and Blaziken doesn't deal that much damage when they're +1 on Spadef with Quiver Dance. And sure, Blaziken can do something, but if it can't deal damage to Volcarona just gets to set up for free. I just end up losing the game. So I need to play with Bax again. That's why I let Bax game 1. So, and by the way, they didn't use Volcarona game 1. But then it becomes kind of mind gamey again, where do I press Scale Shot into Volcarona to then make sure I can outspeed it again if they set up Quiver Dance and hope they don't Terra? Or do they Terra and block my Scale Shot? Do I press Icicle Spear? But if they don't Terra, I just don't do damage. And it ended up becoming that I just pressed Coaching while I Icicle Speared into Rillaboom, which switched out into Incineroar. And I ended up whittling down the partner Pokemon next to Volcarona. So I could eventually get in a spot where I can have Primarina and Excalibur against the Fake Out and Volcarona. But I ended up pressing Scale Shot into Volcarona, hoping that it wouldn't Terra. But it Terra, blocking my Scale Shot. They faked out into my Primarina. I got nothing out that turn. So I thought it was completely lost because my Excalibur had also lost its loaded dice. But after a couple of decks, I ended up getting the Corona out of the field with Sucker Punch, with King Gambit later, and Ice Shard from my then +2 Excalibur, I think. And then it came down to, they have Ursaluna and some other Pokemon. I had my Excalibur and King Gambit, and I absolutely needed to hit 5 Icicle Spears onto Ursaluna to win the game. And I ended up hitting 5 Icicle Spears without my loaded dice. And my friend also texted me on Discord, like, bro, what happened? Like, why? Why did you have to hit 5 skill shots? Like, Icicle Spears?
Because you weren't even guaranteed the 4 at that point.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm glad they're still your
So,
friend.
yeah,
I wouldn't be personally.
But yeah, no, I also felt kind of bad that this set, or at least game 2, came down to luck, and the last round also came down to luck with the double protect. But like, top cut is top cut.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
You just have to do, I mean, at this point, you just have to win your matches. That's literally it. And what the hell? That's a slacking. There was a slacking in Top Cut. Okay. All right, tell me what happened here. I'm not even going to analyze this one. There's a slacking on my screen.
Yeah, so, like, I need my usual game plan with, I need Rillaboom against Dozo at least some point, to then be able to win the matchup. And Rillaboom is especially good against Psy Spam here, but, like, it isn't the best matchup in the world, because Psy Spam is really annoying, because if they are Jolly Sneasler, I'm not sure Adamant Sneasler, but Jolly Sneasler, I need +4 speed on Blaziken to be able to outspeed them. And that's too many turns. I'm just gonna die eventually.
Yeah.
Or before it gets it up. So in game 1, they didn't go for Psy Spam. They went with Weezing Slacking, while I did Blaziken Backs. They then pressed Terra Flying, Toxic Spikes, while they pressed Earthquake with Slacking, and I used Coaching and Protect. And then they just put themselves in a really bad spot. Now I can just kill Weezing with Icicle Spear if I want to. But I end up pressing Scale Shot into Slacking, predicting a Protect on Weezing, which does end up happening. And on that turn, I also switched in Rillaboom instead of Blaziken, so maybe have Blaziken deal damage to either outspeed Indeedee in the back, or outspeed Dozo and hit it with Aura Sphere. But yeah, then I just had Rillaboom on the field, where I could just say, well, I'm gonna Icicle Spear and Fake Out. So I just get set up Grassy Terrain, and now Slacking is true on this active. And then they send out Dozo, and they don't have Terra, so I just press Woodhammer and Scale Shot, and kill the Dozo and win game 1. Game 2 was a lot more difficult, because they did Psy Spam, and I lived with Blaziken Excalibur again. And then I just kind of had to like make a prediction. Hope they didn't press Terra Dark Throat Chop into my Excalibur, while I would Terra for safety against close combat. So I switched in Rillaboom into my Blaziken spot to start this rain, and they pressed Diaclaw and Expanding Force both into Rillaboom, and I got Scale Shot into Sneasler, and then my Rillaboom dies, send in Blaziken, and they send in Dozo. So then I just have Indeedee and Dozo on the field, and I can say, okay, they're not gonna send in Tatsugiri, so I'm gonna attack Indeedee, because they're gonna want to deal at least some damage before they get their Dozo Giri active. And I read them correctly there, so they protect Dozo, and I just get to kill Indeedee. And from there, I have like my Sash Blaziken, and I have Primarina with Specs. Moonblast still deals a lot into +2 Dozo. And so I can just kill Dozo, and then eventually kill Tatsugiri.
So not a terrible matchup, all things considered. But it almost kind of, I don't know. I'm still stuck on game 1. Like, they Terra Flying the Weezing and they go for the Earthquake because you let off with 2 ground weeks, but you're Sash on the Blaziken. Like, what is that really going?
I didn't leave with 2 ground weeks. I live with Blaziken Excalibur.
Oh yeah,
They
my
just
bad, my
pressed
bad.
Earthquake.
Sorry, I thought it was King Gambit for a second. I still don't know why you would Earthquake there. I'm just like, you could take a KO on backs if you really wanted to. Okay, that makes sense. No, this, I don't know, man. Your run is like kind of freaky. The more I'm looking at, I'm like, why is there literally a slacking here? All right, let's look at semifinals. Here, copy link. Let's take a look. The semifinals. At this point, we're in single elimination because it's top cut. But okay, looks like we're just looking at Sinistcha, Arch, Dragonite, Ursaluna, Golden Go, Pelipper, like soft rain sort of things. How do you feel going into like a Sinistcha matchup? I mean, you have a lot of physical attackers, but obviously backs can't be burned by Sinistcha, even if Sinistcha like Terra Darks and just to wall you out. How do you feel about this?
I feel the matchup is a lot easier than the rain I faced earlier, because they don't have fake out, so they can't really stop my Primarina. Or yeah, they can't really stop it. They can maybe set up Tailwind, try to go with Jowl Speed versus Luna or something like that, but I can just press Electro Whip on most Pokemon, and either Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Hyper Voice, like pretty much every move Primarina has, except Haze, of course.
Yeah,
is really strong into that team. And now I'm trying to see if I can remember the leads.
and they're even lacking Wide Guard on Pelipper, so there isn't really any counterplay to other than just trying to KO the Prim as quick as you can.
Yeah. Game 1, I sat in the car on my way to my brother's birthday, and like we drove into the side of the road so I could just play on my mobile network, hope I didn't disconnect. And then I remember saying to my parents, I just lost on a Heatwave miss, because it ended up coming down to, they have Sinistcha and Archeludon, and I have my Blaziken on the field. But I need to hit Heatwave on Archeludon, and I think it would always kill, but it might be a roll. But then I missed, and I said to my parents, I lost game 1. This is really bad. So, yeah. I just hoped and prayed or I could do the exact same game plan game 2. To then win. And there I also, I led Electabuzz Purina, then had Blaziken and King Gambit in the back. And so they led like Dragonite, Archeludon, and I used Electro Web and Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam, and ended up getting in the late game a crit on Archeludon with Dazzling Gleam, so then make sure I'd win the game. I was in a pretty good spot, but like my opponent could still win. But that crit just secured game 2. And game 3, they led with Ursaluna, Archeludon, and I led my Purina and Electabuzz. And then I wanted to predict this turn, and if I predicted it, I would probably always win. I think that was at least my thought process. So I switched out Primarina into King Gambit, and I pressed Follow Me, and they pressed Snarl and Protect, and now I'm just +2 in King Gambit because Snarl, and I still have my redirection. So I just pressured the Ursaluna to switch out, and then like King Gambit just kept on getting kills. And then Primarina in the back, how in the back, to then handle Archeludon later, where they had to Terra Fighting to not just die to Sucker Punch. So that turn 1 read just sealed the game, I think.
Sick. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like King Gambit isn't like incredible in this matchup just because there's a few things that could wall it, like Terra Dark, Sinistcha, Archeludon seems annoying, Ursaluna is frustrating. Even like Terra Fairy Dragonite could be annoying, but the fact that it actually put in work in this matchup is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, I can't really bring Rillaboom because I'm U-turn Rillaboom, so usually that might be a game plan because then it can pressure Goldengo to some extent and Archeludon, and then also the damage to Ursaluna. But yeah, I can't really do that because I don't have high horsepower, so King Gambit needed to come instead.
That makes sense. All right, well, let's check out finals. Finals, this is also, it was also streamed, so we can technically watch it, but I'll probably just use it as B-roll. And once again, we are in a Terra Electric Yawn Ursaluna finals. Also, Grassy Seed, Unburden, Swords Dance, Terra Flying Acrobatic Sneasler. That's kind of wacky. AV Rillaboom, Life Orb, Nasty Pot Golden Go. We have Terra Ground Terra Blast Ninetales. That's actually wacky. And of course we have Citrus Berry Incineroar in every finals ever. Welcome Incineroar. All right, you want to talk about your final set? I'm sure you remember this one pretty well. You're literally in finals.
Now it's gonna be really embarrassing if I say something wrong, or if I say like I did this turn, but something completely different happened.
It's fine.
Yeah, I basically had to lead Blaziken Baxcalibur, or else I'd just lose to Rillaboom Sneasler, I think. And the only thing that would be like really bad, or really good into my lead, would be like Goldengo Incineroar. But like game 1, they led Goldengo Ninetales, and so I could just pressure with Scale Shot into the Goldengo and just press Heat Wave, because then I either hit the most super effective, or I get off Scale Shot, which is the neutral, into Goldengo, and then I can outspeed the Ninetales, so I might be able to do something with Icicle Spear there if I need more damage, or just something along those lines. So Blaziken really carried in that game 1. They needed to get it off the field, also just like run away with the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say Blaziken hits literally everything but Sneasler for super effective on this team.
Yeah, but against Sneasler is kind of scary, because if it is Jolly, it still outspeeds +3 Blaziken. So like Blaziken isn't the best option, but like it is still really good, as you said, because it hits pretty much everything. But if they can break my Sash and hit me with Acrobatics, then it's not going to be that great, because then I lose my best option into that team. Game 2 was really bad, because, as I said, a bad lead for me to play against would be the Goldengo Incineroar, and that's what they led in game 2. And then I just tried to make some predictions that they wouldn't fake out into my Blaziken, so I might be able to get some damage. But like, I just couldn't do anything. My opponent just saw it, broke my Sash, all that. I just didn't stand a chance in that game 2. They just swept me. And so I really panicked for the game 3, because I was like, okay, this is winnable now, but suddenly isn't, because now I just can't lead my Blaziken Baxcalibur, and I'm not gonna risk it all on just leading that again and hope they switch up their lead. And so I instead led my Electabuzz and Kingambit for game 3 to maybe catch the Goldengo Incineroar lead. But instead they led Rillaboom Sneasler. And there I read the Sword Stance on the Sneasler that they wouldn't attack into Kingambit, and they needed the Sword Stance to then kill my Electabuzz. And so I just didn't protect, and I wanted to try to get my own Sword Stance if they fake out into my Electabuzz. But they did stop my Sword Stance, but I got my Electro Web up, so that meant that my +3 Blaziken could outspeed the Sneasler later. And since Rillaboom is now also -1, I could also just say I can Terra Dark Sucker Punch from +2 if I outspeed you at -1, so they can't just Grassy Glide maybe to stop my Sucker Punch. So like my whole game plan for game 3 from that turn was based on speed, because either Blaziken had to carry for outspeeding Sneasler, or Kingambit had to one-shot everything. And that's pretty much what happened. So I ended up redirecting with Electabuzz to keep my Kingambit safe while I set up my Sword Stance. And then my Kingambit took a high horsepower. But then I got to send in my Blaziken, and now I had my +2 Kingambit. So I went for the +2 Terra Dark Sucker Punch into Rillaboom. So then say, okay, now you can't break my Sash onto my Blaziken. And then I could go for Heat Wave, because if the Sneasler, because the Sneasler used close combat, it was -1 on Spef now. So even if it was double target, it might still kill, but it ended up being single target, so I would just always kill. And the late game, then they had Incineroar and Goldengo, while I had my very low HP Blaziken and King Gambit. Um, but I really wanted my Blaziken to die, so I could get my Primarina in on the field. Because I'm very fast in my Primarina, I was pretty comfortable in outspeeding Incineroar, so they can't go for something like Flare Blitz, High Roll, or Crit into my King Gambit to kill that. And so, when my Blaziken died to make it rain, I was in a really, really good spot because my Primarina could just outspeed the Incineroar, and he still had Terra up, so that meant he can Terra Incineroar, sure, but then I one-shot Incineroar with Sucker Punch. And if he doesn't Terra, then I just one-shot him with Hyper Voice.
Mm-hmm.
And since he's -1 because of the Make It Rain on Goldengo, Primarina can always take an attack, and it should be able to take one more Make It Rain after. So, like, even if he Terras Water, I can kill him. And I used Heat Wave with my Blaziken before it got knocked out, just to get some damage into Goldengo to make sure that even if he had Terra Water, I could Hyper Voice and always win the game. And yeah, that's how I won game 3.
Nice. Yeah, no, this, I mean, like, the matchup doesn't seem like super negative for you or anything. It just seems like it's stressful because that Sneasler just seems to cause a lot of issues. It's a really strange Sneasler set. no Dire Claw is actually kind of whack.
But it's almost the exact team that won Frankfurt. So
yeah.
It is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is just a really annoying matchup because the Sneasler Rillaboom just pressures Blaziken.
Mm-hmm. Like, had the Sneasler literally just not had a flying move, like, maybe it'd be a little bit easier. Then I guess, like, Dire Claw would probably two-shot Blaziken. Blaziken's not, like, super bulky, but still. Yeah, no. I guess...
think it's better for me that he has acrobatics. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's better that he has acrobatics because with Dire Claw he can pressure my Primarina, but my Primarina could take a Terra Flying acrobatics when he isn't +2.
Yeah.
So that was really... yeah, that was something that came into play at the end of game 1, but I had practically already won at that point.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I guess now that we've gotten through the war story of, like, the tournament, what I want to do before we wrap up is just have you give your thoughts on Blaziken as a whole and Baxcalibur, like, as a combo, like, any, like, advice you would give to anyone who would want to run this team. Because obviously, I mean, like, this is a team that people are going to be looking at now that it's won a online tournament. So any, like, thoughts about, like, the duo, any matchups that you think could be improved on the team, that sort of thing?
Yeah, you definitely need to, talking in improvements, you need to find something better than Rillaboom for the team. I really only played Rillaboom for the Dozo matchup, and so finding something that would handle, like, priority better for the Grassy Glide, or maybe even set up Tailwind so you can outspeed Sneasler easier, or something to handle Mousehold Annihilate easier, because, like, it's a really common archetype, so I think you need a much better answer into it other than just coaching and hope you don't get crits. And, like, Blaziken Baxcalibur as a whole, I think that's a lot better than if you were to have Sneasler Baxcalibur, because you do have that fire coverage to pressure Goldengo and all that, and I think Blaziken is also better at times than Sneasler or Annihilate with coaching because of speed boost. So you could go for that coaching scale shot, and the next turn still coaching scale shot because you now outspeed your Baxcalibur again. Yeah,
it doesn't cause, like, a weird desync where all of a sudden, like, you're not able to coaching before the next one. It's always just gonna be faster. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate having you on here today just to go over the team and your run. Obviously, like, this tournament might have flown slightly under the radar due to there being a regional going on the same weekend, but I still wanted to cover it because I thought it was just really interesting that we had a Pokemon like Blaziken win the whole thing, and Baxcalibur too. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Baxcalibur do this well at a tournament. So yeah, anything you want to say before we finish up here?
Yeah, yeah, I just really want to shout out Marcus, who showed me the team. I wouldn't have won it without your help. Shout out, Gustav. Sorry, sorry you didn't make cut.
I mean, it is what it is. Sorry, Gustav, but sometimes you just get 5 skill shots. Sometimes you just get it. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. You have a Twitter I can link down below, right? So I'll link them to that if you want to give a follow. But yeah, I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.